So you want to play Ymir, but the only problem is you don't know how. Well, fret not, because I'm going to teach you how to build, play, and level Ymir all in this video, so let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about Ymir's passive, Frostbite, which has two parts. The first part is it debuffs the enemies when you damage them with an ability. It makes them deal 10% less damage. Now, the next part is this Frostbite passive gives you a buff every time you hit an enemy with an ability. Anytime you basic attack someone with Frostbite on them, your next basic attack will deal 100% more damage to them, which is pretty wacky. If you build a damage build, you could be one-shotting people. It's pretty wacky. But let's go ahead and move on to the rest of his kit. Ymir's one is a wall. It's really simple. You can actually use your abilities through this wall, and it's kind of funny. You could use this wall for good by protecting your teammates, blocking enemies from getting to your team, or using it to block enemies from getting away from your team, but you could also use it to troll. Now, you could place this on people and stop them from recalling your enemies or your allies, or both. It's really how you use it, but let's go ahead and move on. Ymir's 2 is a line attack that slows enemies. It's pretty simple. You'll be using this to lane clear, but make sure you basic attack after using one of your damaging abilities, because the enemies are debuffed with your passive, and you could get some decent damage in. So let's go ahead and move on to his 3. Ymir's 3 is a cone attack that freezes his enemies. It could actually freeze multiple people, and it freezes them for 2.25 seconds. It's ridiculous. You could use this and then wall people from escaping you. It's just super long for no reason. Ymir's ultimate is this circle that you could actually press again. It'll do less damage, but it charges up. You could rush the detonation of his ultimate. It slows for 40%. It's pretty useful. It just does a lot of damage, even if you're going full-blown tank. And it slows for a really long time, but let's move on to leveling. When leveling Ymir, the first ability I like to get is his 2, and then his 3, and then his 1. You don't have to put any points into his 1. It just increases the duration of how long the wall stays up. But of course, put points into your ultimate whenever you can. I like maxing his 3, because the freeze duration goes up with it. It's really good for helping your teammates, but you could level your 2 if you want that lane clear. If you're going some like insane solo build, you probably want to max out his 2, and then of course max out his 1 last after you do the rest of his kit. But let's go ahead and move on to the build portion of the video. Before we get into the build portion of the video, if you guys like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into it. Now, if I'm playing support, I'm going Sentinel's Gift. You could go Compassion if that's your thing. It's actually not terrible. It's pretty good. Tainted Steel's awesome for anti-heal. War Flag's valid, of course. Now, if you want to go damage, you could run Vampiric Shroud, Sands of Time, Conduit Gem. You could build Hunter on Ymir. Almost anything works. It's just stupid. Ymir's very good. But anyway, I like building Gauntlet of Thebes on Ymir. It gives you 250 health. It gives you 15 HP 5, and when you stack the thing, if I could actually stack the item, it gives you 55 physical and magical protections. On top of the awesome aura, it gives your allies, giving them 10 of each protections, physical and magical, for just being around you. And I actually think they buffed Gauntlet of Thebes, which it definitely didn't need. But anyway, Emperor's Armor is the next item, is really good on Ymir. It's awesome for tower diving. This is actually one of my favorite tank items. It gives you 300 health, 60 physical protections. It lowers the attack speed on enemy towers and phoenixes if it's in your aura effect by 30%. And it actually buffs your towers and phoenixes if they're in your aura, increasing their attack speed by 50%, turning your Phoenix into a minigun to the enemy team diving you. They just get killed. It's pretty fun to use, but let's move on to Manticore Spike, which works pretty well on Ymir. Manticore Spike gives you 35 physical and magical protections, 300 health, and 20 MP5. Also, the passive is when you hit an enemy with a hard crowd control, which is your 3 on Ymir. It drops a spike on the ground. If you pick up this spike, it does bonus damage on your next ability. Same thing for your allies, but it actually gives you more bonus damage based off your HP. So if you're a tank, you'll be dealing more bonus damage. Now, next item I like to get is Stone of Binding, which gives you 25 magical power, 30 physical and magical protections, 10 MP5, and when you hit an enemy with a crowd control, it places a debuff on them, reducing their magical and physical protections for 10 seconds, which on Ymir, you have a slow on your 2, you have a slow on your ultimate, you also have a freeze on your 3. So you'll be doing crazy things with this item on Ymir. Next item I like to get is Prudwin, giving you a shield based off your protections, and if you get the shield destroyed, or if it times out after 5 seconds, it explodes. It's pretty useful. It gives you 30 physical and magical protections, 20% cooldown reduction. It's really nice. Other really good items you could get on Ymir is Pestilence, Anti-Heal, Stone of Fall because you get damage mitigation because you're basic attacking. And while you should be basic attacking a lot after every ability on Ymir for maximum damage output, so Stone of Fall is really good. Mantle of Discord, just always a nice item. If you get low, it releases the shockwave stunning enemies. It's really useful. You don't have an escape on Ymir. You can mitigate this with your walls, but this is pretty good. And of course, Midgardian Mail is just a straight up counter for hunters. Other items you could get are like Breastplate, Mystical Mail. You could even go damage on Ymir. It really doesn't matter. If you're going to go damage, build Polynomicon. But if you guys like this type of content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.